Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM21. It's career mode. We're on episode 130, and we are going to wrap up the Giro in this episode. It is now stage 20. 19 was a flat stage, the final sprint stage of this race. And unfortunately for us, we did lose a rider. Kyakovchi ended up, I want to say a vertebrae, fractured vertebrae, or broke his back. So, as somebody who has been there and done that, that was how I exited the army half a lifetime ago. But yeah, ow. I know that pain, I feel that pain, and he is going to be out for quite a few months. So that means we are down a man for the final climbing stage here of this race, as stage 21 is a on the short side time trial where we can definitely gain some time, but it's not going to be a significant chunk of time due to the distance of the stage that we'll be navigating for the finale of this one. So that means today is hugely important, as Sifsi is really struggling to find his way through the pack at the moment, despite his positive race day condition and bonuses that he's carrying. There is finally a gap over here on this side, so we might be able to find our way through here soon. Can we get... Oh, come on, Sifsi. He just cannot get past, and everybody else is desperate for water. Now, in the meantime, Sifsi, who was covering for Karaman, and now he's further behind than he was. He is just... caught in no man's land. There's a gap. Oh, you were in front of him! Oh my gosh, this is so flippin' annoying how this happens. This was the time to get the water, and we sent him back there quite a long time ago, but he has struggled for like 10k to make any progress whatsoever. Finally, he finds a gap and is going to come forward to get to his team. Now just 106 kilometers left to go in this one, and that is task finally done. Not much of a tempo right now. There's 14 riders off the front. They are split up into two groups, and they do not have a large advantage. In fact, the first 11 are now just 45 seconds ahead. Okay, Sipsy back on target. Guerrero back to nothing. That's fine. That's how I wanted it. The fantastic news about today is where we have had some really, really poor luck for just eons, it felt like anyway. Kramen, +4, race day condition. Petrov, Gonzalez Albiol, and Martin Guerrero, as in our three best support riders, +5. So our top 4 guys are +4 or better. And our Butas has a +3 to go with it. So it doesn't feel like we're pushing that hard right now, but we are. I mean, the majority of the breakaway is right there, and we are only on the first climb. Now, Karaman is cruising along because they're really not pushing that hard, but the domestiques are very much feeling it here on this first climb. Speed it up for a little while. Looks like we're about to make contact, but every time we almost make contact with that front group, that gap starts to open up just a little bit more, and we've definitely lifted tempo just slightly here. How many of these riders are going to be feeling it? Quite a few, I suppose, as we are down to 113 riders in the Peloton. But not the contenders. The contenders should be just fine. Just fine. But how much of that, how much of our success, our strength during that section, how much of that came down to the fact that those guys all have excellent race day condition? Could very well be a factor, and there could have been some fatigue setting in on those lead guys. Now, the big thing on that one is, look at Sifsi versus Karaman. Sifsi might have recovered, as Ineos is sending Abner Gonzalez up the road, and that's a little worrying on that front. But Sifsi versus Karaman, you could see that Sifsi, while he recovered fully to what extent he could manage, meaning some of that expended energy was never going to come back, was never going to recover, as he was down quite a bit on that energy. Now, as we reach the top of this climb, and okay, EF has turned in a huge acceleration, Now we've got guys going backwards pretty quickly, including Karaman. Karaman was right up here moments ago, and he's fallen back. So we need to up the effort. The race is on. 60k to go. I'm going to get water at the top of this climb. Let's see what a 78 can do here. We obviously don't want to get dropped, but we also don't want to expend too much energy. Gonzalez Albiol, get him out of the tail end of these guys that are going backwards. Riobovas is in protect mode, so he'll get forward as soon as he can. And 78 is enough for us to hold and or recover position a little bit, which is good. That's what we want. Now, Sifsy is going to be a little too tired, I think, to go for the water, so we are going to need to use somebody else for it as we approach the top. Back end is Gonzalez Albiol, so Riobovas is the likely candidate. 4.7k to go is a little much, though. Hold on, change of plans. Sifsy, let's slow you down. Get you out the back. Very, very quickly. Very quickly, please. Thank you. Still there. He is still here. There we go. Now he's out the back. Okay, set him to auto. Now Narbutas, Riobovas. These guys are all too tired. Martin Guerrero, go ahead and protect the leader. And maybe, because of how tired those two are, let Karaman climb by himself. And Martin Guerrero go get the water. It's 2.5k. Somebody went down up there. That's Bettiol. We're down to 77. Get your hand up before you get dropped here. Okay, he's already going forward. He's going forward, but he's getting caught behind these guys. Nearly losing contact. Wow, he just put his hand up. He had water a long time ago. We are over the top, though. 37, 41. It's yo-yoing a little bit, but it's a very small peloton after that second climb, after that acceleration. So Narbutas and Riobovas could go to auto. And let's see a few of the riders that are out. Sam Uman is out. Gourmet is out. Vervecki. Jack Haig. Zagar with a 79 mountain has been dropped. Dombrowski has been dropped. That's surprising. Well, these guys kind of yo-yoing right on the edge. Okay, here's Martin Guerrero with his progress. And we are still blinking red a little bit on this descent with the 78 effort. But with the snow and or rain that we are seeing on this descent, we really don't want to put in too much effort. Now, those other three are full stop. I mean, they are in fantastic condition right now, completely recovered early on in this thing. We're going to wait for the final climb to make some sort of move. It's already a very small peloton. Let's take the strength of these four riders and of these three riders.
Fall in the pack. Apparently, the leader is on the ground.
Warburton, 6th place. That was the nearest contender behind us. That was the only contender behind us who was a threat. Now, I'm not happy about Gonzalez Albiol going down. I'd very much like to have him in that front group. But if he got wiped out with somebody, and I'm guessing this is a touch of wheels, and Gonzalez Albiol's at the front of this, so Warburton seemingly has wiped out Gonzalez Albiol. It's his own fault, but let's make sure that Gonzalez Albiol is able to... Wow, these guys are both on the ground for a long time. Are they going to get up and get moving again? And they both do. There's Riobovas. Okay, Martin Guerrero finished his task. Okay, Riobovas. Let's follow Riobovas and use Riobovas to try to get back up there. And gel up for you. Let's see how far behind we are. There's a group of 21. If we can at least make contact with that group, we can then leave things be. There is 2 riders coming back to help Warburton, as that is their obvious team leader. And so for that, let's set up. Let's switch this to you sitting in place and you protecting him. And let's get back up with the front as we are beginning the penultimate ascent of a regular stage of this tour. And we are already seeing an attack by Gegenhardt, who sits 11th, and McNulty, who sits 12th. Let's see who responds. Is anybody going to respond to this one? Ineos will. No. Pogacar on the attack. That one, I'm not okay with that because he is way too strong. He can gain way too much time. So we are going to go into this sort of mode. And Martin Guerrero, if nobody else, if Großschartner, no, he's attacking. See, this is a bunch of riders attacking instead of chasing. Now it's a chase. Another attack. Down to 20 in the group, by the way. Behind us, Gonzalez Albiol has made contact with the chase group of 24. Riabovas was dropped. That makes perfect sense as he was quite tired. But he helped get Gonzalez Albiol up there. We're down to 19, and we have 7 at the front, including some of these breakaway guys. But Martin Guerrero is doing the chasing at the moment. Let's see who is in this group. Champion, Van Wilder, Pogacar did make it up there, so did McNulty, so did Gegenhardt, and Abner Gonzalez, who went early, is now leading that cause. So yes, this is a necessary move here by Martin Guerrero to keep this thing close as breakaway rider Stoinich has been dropped. And this group is thinning out very quickly. It's down to 10.
We can only hope that they all get back up.
Maurice, Matthews, Latour. Oh, Warburton left the group behind. Okay. They're not going to chase too hard with him out the back. Or, I mean, with him off the front of that group, that is. And Martin Guerrero is done, but I am not using Petrov yet. No way, no how are we going to use him. There's Gonzalez, who has been dropped, so that's going to impact that group. Okay, let's attack the group and see what you could do on your own. Attack that group as well. And there you go. Try to get back up here. Guerrero going as fast as he can. Guess we'll go 99. If somebody overtakes him, that's great. If not, he is going as fast as he possibly can. But that is going to open that gap further ahead. Let's see where we're at with this thing. McNulty, Pogacar and Gegenhardt solo up the road, already just over the top. 19 kilometers to go. In fact, that's more than just over the top. But McNulty, he's going to struggle from here. Those guys are all going to struggle from here. And Gonzalez Albiol has made it to the front and is now leading the charge. Martin Guerrero, we'll see if he's still here, if he's still recovering. I wouldn't mind if that group split in half right there, but it does not. And you'd figure Martin Guerrero is going to get just a little bit of recovery in and be able to take over here momentarily. In fact, once he starts to get a little bit of yellow bar, we're going to put him on the heels of Gonzalez Albiol. Want him to follow, work his way up there. So we have 2 guys for the first kilometer or so. It's 15k to go overall, and we've got some work left to do, but Karaman is full strength here, and Petrov is looking good as well. Let's gel up for Gonzalez Albiol, who is at the front, and Martin Guerrero. Martin Guerrero is the one who needs to be going first. Let's go ahead and switch this up, and then get you on his wheels. And then Petrov, and then Karaman, and we are set and ready to go.
Only 10 kilometers left.
Guerrero. Okay, here we go. Final climb. Final climb.
Features some dreadful percentages.
11k, 6%. It's the Sestrier. Martin Guerrero and Gonzalez Albiol are both, neither one of them is going to last too long, but we're at 9.5k. Okay, Gonzalez Albiol, get to the back end here. out of there. Petrov ready to take over. And Martin Guerrero. Do the same. Get to the back end. And you know what? Grossschartner is pushing for now. Let's let Grossschartner push. Let's sit on. This is 18 chasing just 3. But 2 of them have a pretty significant gap. Checking in at the moment, we are 2:15 down on both Pogačar and Gegenhardt. So 2:15 is the gain. That's from 10:06 behind. So let's say that cuts it down to 8 minutes. Where do we stand? With Karaman, we are 6:47. So we're down to 1.25 minutes of an advantage over Pogačar at the moment. But guaranteed, Karaman has far more energy than Pogačar, and we are going to close that gap down. Likewise, the other one to watch out for is McNulty. He's 20 minutes behind. And Gegenhardt, he is 17 minutes behind. Not a threat. Pogačar, yeah, a little bit of a threat, but let those guys up here do some chasing to try to protect their man. Here is Yates. We're going to have to keep an eye on him, as he is definitely a little bit of a threat. Behind us, champion Warburton, who is here, but obviously he's going to have less energy than he could, should, would. And Bernal's a little bit behind us. So the attack is a possibility. Foss, Hagita, all still present. Almeida, way at the back end of the group. Garcia, Gonzalez, and Gonzalez, who is about to get dropped, along with Martin Guerrero. And so is Almeida. Almeida, from second place, has lost contact. Will he be able to regain it? He does, for now. He's about to lose it again. And he's had to go pretty deep to keep himself in contact. Here goes Yates. In which case, these two go auto. And Petrov start pushing, because here goes Bernal. Here goes Hagita. 6K to go. Weather the storm. Let the attack come. Control our pace. And then push towards the end. Petrov, go a little harder. We're already inside 5K now. It does ease off at the top as well. So Petrov, give me an 85. We've caught Yates. Bernal and Hagita are close. Warburton and Almeida are still hanging on to our wheel. 4K to go. And we've nearly caught these two. The front end, though, 2.5. So they have picked up another 15 seconds, actually. Petrov. Okay, we're going to start digging deep. 3K. Karaman is going to attack as soon as Petrov is done. And we're going to try to push right past those 2 leaders. Karaman. 2K to go. On the attack. He is clear. And we're going to keep that attack going. We're going to keep that attack going, but ease off a little bit. We've caught Gegenhardt. There is Pogačar. And we continue to push on. Final kilometer. We have the yellow bar. Sprinted out for the finish. We have caught Pogačar, so we are at the front of the field looking at top 2. It looks like he does have a little bit left. He's going to win the stage, but he is so far down that it is not going to matter. We take second. We are going to get the 6 bonus seconds, and it is 50 seconds before Gegenhardt crosses the line. Warburton, what a fantastic ride from him to get all the way back up into 4th place. Bernal is 5th. Almeida, Hagita, Yates, Grossschartner, Storer. Foss is way down at 11th. We are going to be way ahead of Foss. He was about 2.5 minutes behind with Petrov. Yeah, Petrov showing 2:19. So about 2.5 minutes down, as he was just behind Foss over the line. We will gain about 2 minutes on Petrov. On Foss. Wow. Okay, folks. The podium is on. The podium is on. I think we might be standing on that podium today after this one. Gonzalez Albiol 18th, Martin Guerrero 19th. So all 4 of them inside the top 20 on today's stage. What a ride. Okay, so we finished 14 seconds behind Pogacar. We gained over half a minute on Gegenhardt. Warburton, 45 seconds. Bernal, almost a minute. Almeida, just over a minute. Hagita, Yates, Grossschartner, we're down to 2:11, so a few seconds shy of 2 minutes gained on Foss, but then you add in the 6-second time bonus for finishing second on the stage. It exceeds 2 minutes gained. McNulty was 4:54 down. Gonzalez, 5:18. And we are up one position, just one position. Foss has slipped to 5th place. Pogacar is comfortably back up into 6th. Warburton, who had a fantastic ride and finished 4th on the stage, drops a position and gets 7th after his crash, of course, with Gonzalez Albiol. Gonzalez Albiol certainly did not recover in the same manner. He is 15th. Petrov is 16th. Gonzalez up into 13th after his ride today. McNulty just outside of the top 10. Dina also missing out. A very clear top 10. Gegenhardt way behind the top 9, but way ahead. Comfortably 10th place. But Storer, good ride from him to sit 9th. Adam Yates is 8th. But contender-wise, behind us, 2-minute advantage. Clear, comfortable, no issues. We are not on the podium right now, though, but we are just 5 seconds behind Sergio Higuita. We have a 79 time trial. We have a 76 prologue. We'll see what the combination of that one will be for this final stage. Expected as a +2. We did just finally have a +4 where we've had the 0s and +1s in numerous recent stages, but I'd say Karaman is pretty balanced on where his race day condition has been throughout this race, meaning he's due another +2. Higuita, 71 time trial, 74 prologue. So let's say it's neutral. Let's say it's 17.5K, which would be a 50-50 split. I don't know how much it is, but I know it's not the longest time trial we're going to see. He's about a 72.5. We are a 77.5. We have a +5, roughly, over Higuita. That should amount to 5 seconds, but we've seen it 1,000 times before in this game. Contenders somehow have a little something extra. They do not lose significant chunks of time. It's going to be tough to overtake him, but 5 seconds is pretty doable. Almeida at a minute 40 with equal or better than us. Better resistance as well. Don't expect to gain any time on him unless it's, 10, 15, maybe 20 seconds at most. We're not going to gain a minute and a half on Almeida. So we are fighting Higuita head-to-head for 3rd place here in the final stage, and Bernal can walk in. Only if he, crashes in the final kilometer, he can walk in and still win this thing. Still early on here in this final stage, but I want to show you the process this time and I suppose drag it out a little bit for what the result might be. Sifsy is the only one who's gone so far, and of course, as the non-climber, he was well off compared to his teammates. For Sifsy, I started in 83 because there was a lot of extra fatigue in the legs for this final stage, meaning these guys have a lot less energy than what we would normally see from them under other circumstances. And starting at that 83, it was clear that was a little too light. In the end, we pushed at an 87, trying to make up that ground. Here for Narbutas, we started at an 85, and that's definitely a lot closer to where he needs to be. You can see even now we have saved a little bit more than is necessary here entering the final kilometer, and he'll be able to attack the line, yes, and gain some time, but he was only 4 seconds better than Sifsy, and we're looking at about a 72 rating. 16.5 kilometers for this one, so it is on that short side. It is on that almost identical neutral to a 50-50 mix between your prologue and time trial rating. It is slightly more with 1 kilometer in the direction, slightly more prologue than time trial rating, but we can pretty much split that at 50-50 doing the math in our head on where the riders stand. Riabovas and Martin Guerrero will be setting off back-to-back here momentarily. This is 30th in the standings at 46 minutes behind. Riabovas with a negative race day condition. I'm seeing that's already 2 riders on negative race day conditions. Sifsy had, I think, a 0 on his race day condition. So we have not drawn well in this one just yet. But the 85 was quite doable. I'm wondering if we can hold an 86 throughout. So we're going to try that with Riabovas. Mark Guerrero, we'll just see how he's doing as he sets off here in a moment, but we'll see what an 86 does, because again, you can see we are starting with a bit of a deficit that has to be made up. So where an 86 is normally perfect for this, I don't know if it is now. Positive race day condition versus negative race day condition. So we'll use that as a comparison. This is an 81-81 for Martin Guerrero. So an 81 with 77 resistance. He should be able to put in a very good time. It won't be near the top. William Bloom-Levy will not be caught with an 81. But should, at least for the time being, get us in or around the top 10. Riabovas, you can see he is still deficit spending at the moment as he goes through the first time check in 31st place. And I think I might have to back off for him. So it looks like a -1 race day condition. 86 is a little too hard. Martin Guerrero, though, he has not recovered yet either. I mean, he is still a little bit off from what would make it to the end. For Riabovas, that 85 quickly makes up that ground. I think we can get back to an 86 now with 5K to go. Meanwhile, checking back in with Martin Guerrero, he has nearly made up the ground that he's needed to make up to make it to the end. Petrov and Gonzalez-Albiol will set off here fairly soon. Excited. I don't think I needed to go quite so long on the 85 for Riabovas, though it wasn't that long. But with that red bar low, it's hard to attack the finish line. 31st, 55 seconds. That is a better time. And Martin Guerrero. Petrov already. No, just setting off. +5. Oof. Wow, he is not a good time trialist, but look at those huge bonuses. A 79-72. What, down the middle for that one? 75? It's about a 75 on his average for today. Okay, Gonzalez-Albiol has already set off, and look, he's gone a little too deep. Not a fan of that one. +4 for him. Really good race day condition. Those two are really up for the challenge today. Let's see if they can improve their position a little bit. That's an 80-80, so 80 across the board for Gonzalez-Albiol and Karaman. Still got a little while before he sets off. Martin Guerrero has finished. Meantime, he is 10th at 25 seconds behind. Told you that would be maybe just about enough to crack the top 10. I was looking at Yasha Suderland going, yeah, that's about where I would see him being, and he is 2 seconds better than that time right now. Roberto Roman. Was Roman on our team, or is that was last year? Might have been last year that I had a... Well, that would have been last year. Mexico's a possibility for us, right? Anyway, Petrov has made up the ground he needed to make up with that lovely +5. Gonzalez-Albiol very much hasn't. Of course, he started that little bit too deep scenario. And there's literally only one rider we're going to need to watch out for when it comes to Karaman. We are definitely going to focus on Karaman when the time comes. We'll let these guys finish on their own. Good time or not, it's going to come down more to what Karaman does. Gonzalez-Albiol still deficit spending. We're going to have to go down to that 85 for a moment with him. But Petrov, I think we can get away with pushing for an 87. At least for a moment. We have to back off again. And Karaman. Here we go. No big bonuses for him. It looks like maybe a +1. He is an 80 and a 78. So a 79 with a 74 resistance for him. Yeah, +1 race day condition. Told you he was due for about a +2 on the day. Petrov, try to get one more second there out of him. 24th, 40 seconds down, Gonzalez Albiol. I let that 85 stand a little too long, but that's a good time. 21st, 36 seconds down. And now with Karaman for the remainder of this one. Now he is not having to deal with a big deficit spend like so many other guys with that high recovery. And it looks like he's already made up the ground he needs to make, which means we could and should be able to push a little bit hard at the finish line, but have a nice, very consistent run. He was 30th, 16 seconds behind at the first time check. It's a little bit off from where Martin Guerrero is, but that makes sense as Martin Guerrero was, 81, 82 average, where Karaman is a little bit off that. Got a 79. 3K to go. Okay, getting a little acceleration in there. And final push. 22nd, 34 seconds down. Okay, here is Higuita. Not much of a time trialist. He was 36 seconds back at the time check. We finished at 34 down, meaning he is already off our tempo. Minute 24. We have gained 50 seconds on Higuita. We needed 5. We are on the podium. We have done it. We are on the podium. Almeida. Almeida turns in. Told you he was as good, if not better. 18 seconds down for him. And Bernal, not a time trialist, and yet he was only 27 seconds behind. He put in a better time as a poor time trialist than we were able to do with Karaman. That is a real sign. That is a real sign of what I was talking about, how the top 5 seem to always get either excellent race day condition bonuses or whatever the case may be. But Karaman has cracked the podium at 5:52 down on Bernal. Almeida, of course, with a solid ride, 2 minutes clear of us in second overall. What got us on this podium was stage 18 and the collapse of Pogacar. Now, he did not crash. That was a team effort by us to make that one happen. So for me, really thrilled by the success of that effort on stage 18 and what we gained as a result. Of course, stage 20 worked out brilliantly as well to get that last little bit to get us ahead of Higuita. And Almeida is a better rider than Karaman, but not by a ton. But with the bonuses and with our one bad stage, where I made that key mistake on that punchy stage and we lost 2 minutes, you take 2 minutes off of our time and we are seconds ahead of Almeida, or seconds behind. Would have been neck and neck. And like I said, looking at the profile, Bernal, way too strong. He crushed it. He crushed everybody. But then, behind that, you had Pogacar, who was right there neck and neck with him, until he suddenly lost 6 minutes on one stage. That is not how far behind he was in the end, though, was it? He was 8 minutes down, so he had lost a couple minutes elsewhere as well. Not his greatest race by any means. But it was that 6 minute loss that we caused that got him off the podium and made enough space for us to get the last step on the podium. What a fantastic ride. Great team effort to claw Karaman, who was the 9th best rider in this field. That's where he slotted in at as a climber. As a time trialist for contenders, he was probably 6th best. So all in all, you average those two things with the amount of time trials we had here, and you'd say maybe the deserved position for Karaman should have been about 8th place. But we clawed him above that. Now, looking at the times here, Pogacar ended up 6th. Well, obviously we should have been behind him. But Foss, Higuita, as good, better. Well, Higuita, meanwhile, 81 mountain, 75 resistance, 80 acceleration, 78 hills. He absolutely is as good, if not better, than Karaman. The difference is the time trialing. And that was the difference, right? We were behind entering the time trial, the final one. We were ahead following. So you'd say these guys have fairly equal chances. You have a punchier guy. Their hill rating is the same, but the acceleration and sprint is much better for Higuita, so that does make him punchier. The resistance is better for Higuita, not by much, but it is better, and with the bonus, of course, for difficulty, it is much better. The recovery favored us a little bit, so down the stretch, and look what happened down the stretch. We caught past him. Foss, same mountain rating, better time trial, same punchiness, better downhill, way better flat rating. He's like 17 points better resistance, pretty much equal recovery when you add in the bonus. So Foss is as good, if not better. And these guys, they have team support. Jumbo-Visma, obviously. Pogačar, much better. Almeida, significantly better. I mean, he's 74 and above in everything except for a couple of stats. Warburton, when you add in the resistance part, you've got to say he's as good, if not better. Yates, much better. 81 mountain and 80 hills and 78 acceleration and 78 resistance. Poor recovery, though. He faded as the race went on, and that was clear. Storer, there's your first one that you go, okay, we are better than Michael Storer. That's the first rider that you look at and go, we are better than him. Gegenhardt, better than us, or at least as good. This is your first most similar rider, especially when you add in the bonus side of it. That puts him slightly above us. You add a little bit, you add a +3 to the mountain hills every single stage because of the difficulty bonus. You add that +3 to the acceleration, to the time trialing, to the resistance, to the recovery, right? It takes him from right about where we're at, maybe a hair below where we're at, to definitely above us. But we overcome all of that. So looking at that top 10, we were 9th best out of those top 10 in terms of quality. Gegenhardt, a few of these guys were close, but when you add those bonuses, they were all a bit better day in, day out. So a podium is a fantastic ride that I think we could be very, very, very proud of. It would have been nice if we hadn't lost those 2 minutes. It could have been a second instead of a third, maybe. It wouldn't have been down to the wire on getting the podium, but that also would have meant I might not have ridden stage 18 the same way. I might not have made that huge attack at the end of stage 20. Those both led to key things, key events of this tour, and key gains for us, either over individuals or over all but that same individual, in particular, Pogačar, who had lost that significant time, and we almost caught him at the end of stage 20. So tactically, things might have been done differently because the circumstances would have been different at that point. We would have ridden more defensively. So I don't know we necessarily shave 2 minutes off of our time here and say that's what time it would have been, 3:52. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's actually the case. Obviously, I think we're still in a better place not losing those 2 minutes than we were having lost those 2 minutes. But all things being considered, I think third place was probably the best we could have hoped for anyway, and it's what we got. So great ride by Karaman, and it's nice to have a good result. It would have been nice to get a second guy into the top 10, but that was always going to be difficult when we actually sacrificed them for the sake of a Karaman who never did have much in terms of race day condition. And what happened when he did? The 1-2 times that he did, we had podium finishes on those stages, and were a few of the stages where we made our key gains in this race, that we got ahead of some of these guys that we were neck to neck close with throughout the race. So race day condition certainly could have been a lot better than it was. And here's the other worrying thing. If we go into the tour with the same objective, aka Tour de France, Karaman still has not hit his fitness peak. Guess what? I can't shut that down all of a sudden and reset and start focusing on the Tour de France. He is going to hit his fitness peak in 5 or 6 days from now. And then it's going to expire shortly before the Tour de France. Our best hope for Karaman is to aim for a first ever La Vuelta appearance victory and ride for somebody else in the Tour, and in particular go for sprints and go for a King of the Mountains type situation, breakaway stage victories. Never mind that my sponsor wants me to win the Tour de France. Oh, by the way, they wanted us to win this race. We got third. They'll see that as a failure, but only a partial failure at least. But we have 100% evaluation, so I think we'll be just fine in that department. Benyam Gourmet has won the Giro points classification. Of course, he is about to make his first real-life appearance. And after some recent successes, by the way, it was a 1-2 from him and Philipsen from the same team. He's about to make his inaugural run of the Tour, so good luck to him on that one. KOM and Wilder just beating Champion, and then Bernal nearly taking it from just crushing it on stages again and again. Under 25s, of course, went to us, and we had a 1-3-4-8 in that classification. And as a team, we got the team title ahead of Ineos. As a team, we stand 6th in the World Tour rankings, and we are 7th in the Super Prestige, now at 2,800 points. And we are very close to moving up. However, with the races to come, I just don't know how much higher we're going to necessarily get. Still, without a clearly defined leader, without any element of our team web, our breakdown in the different race types, not being dominant anywhere and just well-rounded as an okay team, we should be at the back end of the rankings. But we're comfortably in the top 10. So at least there's that. It's hard to get a whole lot of results. Very early in the season, we did hold that number 1 ranking for a little while, but once we got into that classic season where we weren't getting any sort of success, it makes sense that we fell down the order a bit. Groupama FTJ is the one who currently is dominating the proceedings, though. Surprising from them. Anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.